After 40 plus years, a resurgence of the Son of Sam case ensued following the release of the docuseries Sons of Sam, A Descent into Darkness, which examines the theories of investigative journalist Maury Terry. The case was closed by NYPD after David Berkowitz officially confessed in court and pled guilty on May the 8th, 1978. He was sentenced to 365 years. Over the last 4 decades, many theories have been presented as to how a seemingly normal and nice guy could commit such heinous crimes. From Harvey the barking dog who possessed Berkowitz to international cults and conspiracies of all sorts, the energy of this case just will not subside. Due to the fact that NYPD, quote-unquote, got their man and it did not go to trial, the case discovery is limited, though recently many official documents were uncovered that just may bring us back full circle regarding our personal thoughts and theories on the Son of Sam. Welcome back to another episode of Cracklin' Rosie True Crime. I am always grateful for you being here, but today I am especially grateful. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, but I was slammed by Hurricane Ian. So I've been living the past week like a primitive camper, but I'm good. I'm grateful. So many people suffered from the devastation of Ian, so I am truly grateful that my inconveniences were minor in comparison to some families, and my heart goes out to those families, especially the ones who lost loved ones. So but I was out of cell, I was out of Wi-Fi, and certainly out of internet and computer and all that good stuff. Of course, power. And I live in cow country. I'm on septic and well pump, so I'm talking primitive living. Now, thankfully, I am a modern minimalist, so it really wasn't that bad. But still, I couldn't come on and see you, and really wanted to, so here I am. I'm so happy to be here. Okay, on the last video, just a little housekeeping before we get into today's program. We covered the police statements which were prepared for the district attorney's offices. And there was one big file in the data dump, about 100 and something pages, and we made it about halfway through to the Glassman statement, and then one of the letters, and I believe it was the last letter, which Berkowitz wrote to Glassman in August, right before the arrest. I went back into that file thinking that there was going to be a whole lot more, and in actuality, it looks like whoever prepared the information may have uploaded or downloaded, however it would go, some of the documentation twice. So what I'm going to do, we're not doing that today. I'm going to take another look and see if there was anything that wasn't duplicated that we missed, and throw together either a short video or post information if I feel it's important, which it probably is. If we missed anything, I will post that on my Facebook page. So that'll take care of that. Today we will be covering the district attorney's questioning of Berkowitz for Bronx County. Now, weeks ago, we did Kings County or Brooklyn with ADA Aiello. Today, we will be doing Bronx County. And before we dive deep into that, if you need information on my Facebook page, if you want the link to the timeline slideshow, if you want to support the channel, all of that information is on my About page. So if you follow my channel and you're a supporter, you come on my premieres. I am so committed and focused on the chat and just entertaining in the chat. I don't like links and all that stuff thrown in there. So if you need to know anything about me or how to reach me, go to my About page. Everything is there, including my Gmail and all that good stuff. So we're going to move on from that. So I'm going to get us set up. Let's get the document on screen. I hope we're having fun in chat. Let's get the specs on. Okay. Oh, another quick note before we jump into the doc. Everyone is welcome in my chat. The only thing that I ask is that you are respectful. You can debate, but do it in a nice, friendly, respectful way. Nobody's blocked from my channel except one idiot who kept leaving crazy perverted messages. Other than that, no one is blocked. I know there's a shit show going on in the community, but whatever. We are a drama-free channel. My hope is that we can contribute to the community. So, if you have something to say related to our topic, jump in, say what you want to say, and join in on the fun. I have no problems with anyone. I just don't go there. Before this, I was very invested in the Watts case, and I was also very invested in the West Memphis 3 case. There's shit shows that go on there too, trust me, okay? We want to be a community that enhances and brings information forward and helps move the case forward, okay? So, enough of that. Mama Rosie stopping. Okay, so I'm going to start right where we left off when we finished the Kings County questioning with Aiello and Berkowitz. So I know it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sure it'll say it somewhere here. This was the closing statement from Aiello. He asks a question of Berkowitz. He says, "Will you excuse me a second, David? David, at this time, there is another assistant district attorney that is present from the Bronx, and his name is Bill Quinn." That's Mr. Quinn sitting right there. At this time, he's going to take over the questioning and ask you some questions. So if you take a look here, I'm not going to go through all of it, but you're going to recognize some of these names because we just did the prepared police statements for the DA's offices. So you see Zigo on here, you see Detective Fox, you see Sergeant Allison, and you can take a moment to read it. But all of the police officers or the law enforcement members that prepared the statements, or at least most of them, are present in the room at police headquarters. Now let's go over here. All right, examination by Mr. William Quinn. David, what is your full name and home address? David Berkowitz, 35 Pine Street, Yonkers, New York. David, how old are you? 24. David, I'm William Quinn, Chief of the Homicide Bureau, Bronx County District Attorney's Office, and I'd like to ask you some questions about certain incidents that happened in the Bronx. But before I do that, I'd like to tell you that you don't have to answer any of my questions. Do you understand that? Yes. He reads him his Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Right to you. Okay. You have the right to an attorney. And if you don't, sorry. Do you have any questions about that? No. Do you understand all of that? Yes. So David responds yes to all of the questions. Mr. Quinn, let the record indicate that it is now 9 minutes past 4. Yep, close to 4, shortly after. And I have been speaking to Mr. Berkowitz for approximately 2 or 3 minutes prior to this time. So that was just reading him his rights. Mr. Berkowitz, I'd first like to discuss with you and ask you questions about an event which took place in Bronx County about 10 minutes past midnight or thereabouts, and if I am wrong about any of the facts, please correct me, okay? Yes. Now, on July 29th, 1979, a Thursday morning in the vicinity of 2890 Burr Avenue in the Bronx, that was at 10 minutes after 1. That was Berkowitz intercepting. Do you recall it being a Thursday morning? No. Do you recall the weather? It was just a clear, warm night. Do you know the street itself, Burr Avenue? Yes. How do you know it? I have been there before. Have you been a New York City resident most of your life? Yes. There were 2 ladies in an Oldsmobile, a blue Oldsmobile with a light blue top on the morning of July 29th, 1976. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Do you know the names of the ladies I'm discussing? Yes, I do. Donna Loria and Jody Valente. Do you know whether either one or both died? Yes, I do. Which one or both? Donna Loria died and Jody Valente was wounded. Can you describe for us where Donna Loria was in the car? She was on the passenger side, and the other lady on the driver's side. Now, you said to me that this was 10 minutes past 1 in the morning. Yes. How long have you been in the area before? I just got there, so I think he meant how long had you been in the area before? And Berkowitz says, I just got there. And do you acknowledge that Mr. Aiello spoke to you before me from the Brooklyn DA's office, chief of their homicide division? Yes. And some of the questions that I am going to ask, that I am going to go over, and some of the questions I ask may be going over some of the same ground, okay? Yes. Now, you said you just got there. Yes. What kind of a vehicle did you drive that night? A yellow Ford. Same car you discussed previously? Yes. And were you alone? Yes, I was. And tell me, what about that event in your own words? And tell me about that event in your own words. I was just driving around and I passed their car. It was double parked by the building. Was there anyone? I was heading west on Burr Avenue and I had just rounded. I know I had to get them. Why? Those were my orders. I never saw them until moments before the shooting. I never saw them. Were their car lights on? I don't remember. Do you know what they were doing? Talking. Was there anyone near their car, such as an old man or woman? I saw nobody. What did you do? I parked my car around the corner in a spot. I got out of the car with the gun in a bag. I walked up to the car, through the street, up on Burr Avenue, right to the car, and I stood by the curb, and they were seated there. As far as I know, Miss Loria didn't see me. That was a paper bag? Yes. And she sat there talking, and I pulled out the gun, and I put the bag in my left hand, and fired the gun with my right hand through the window. Was the window up? Yes. Did the glass shatter? Yes, it did. How many times did you fire? 5 times. What kind of gun? .44 Bulldog. And as you have already discussed it, I want to get it for this stenographer, Mr. Kitchen. Can you describe the gun itself? It's a short barrel, large caliber weapon. How many bullets in the gun? 5. How many did you fire? 5. Do you know who was struck first? Who you struck first? At first I didn't know I struck anybody because I remember Donna had just cupped her hands over her head and was sitting in the car. I didn't hear any sound. I just emptied my gun in the car and saw the glass shatter, and the other girl, I believe, she screamed and blew the horn, and I stood there and emptied the gun, and I didn't know that I struck anybody. I thought she was holding her head because of the flying glass, and when the horn started to blow, I found myself pulling the trigger, and I had already run out of bullets. What were you wearing at that time? I don't remember. Dungarees, probably. Did you have the same hair as you have now? Yes. You didn't have a wig? No. What did you intend to do when you pulled out the gun and fired it at the window where Donna Loria was sitting? Just shoot them and shatter the window. Did you intend to kill them? Yes. Both? Yes. Do you know if you struck Jody Valente? I don't know. I couldn't tell. Did you know either one or both of them before July 29, 1976? No, I did not. Did you have any connection with the area? No. Why did you pick that street, Buer Avenue, that night? The hunting is good there. You were there before? I drove a cab there before. How did the horn of the car continually stay on, or did it stop at some point? It stayed on. What did you do then? I turned around and ran to my car and drove off. To where? Right home to Yonkers. How long did it take for you to decide that it was this car with the girls in it? As soon as I saw it. Were there any people on the street that you saw? Yes, there was a young couple going into a private house across the street, just around the corner. Did they look at you? I didn't pay attention. I just saw them by the house. I think they were going inside. They had gone inside before I started shooting. Had you followed either one of those girls earlier in the evening, 9 or 9:30 in the evening? No. In other words, in the evening hours of the day before? No, I did not. Again, if you have the facts correct and I do not, please correct me. Now, let's turn to April 17th, 1977. Do you recall that date in connection with? Yes. What do you know? Yes, he repeats. Do you know the day of the week it was? Sunday morning. About 10 minutes to 3, something around there? Yes. Where were you? I was on the Hutchinson River Parkway, Service Road. Have you been there before? Yes. For what purpose had you been there before? To look for somebody to kill. And had you? No. Tell me in your own words what happened. I had driven by, and I came from Queens that night. What purpose had you been in being in Queens? Could you tell us? To kill somebody. You were not successful? No. I just drove up the service road and I saw them in the car. What kind did you drive a car that night? Yes. What kind? A Ford, same one I have. The yellow Ford? Yes. What model? 1970 Galaxy. You were alone at that time? Yes. What happened when you drove up? I saw them in the car, and I knew then and there that those were the two I had to shoot. Tell me what kind of car they were in on April 17th, 1977. Describe it by make or color. Red, I think. Maroonish like? Yes. Where on the Hutchinson River Parkway itself was it? On the left side or right side of the road? Looking north, it was on the left side. And had you been at that scene long before something happened? I just came up, parked around the corner, and down a block. Are there some high-rise buildings there? Yes. You parked the car down the street? If I had a map, I could find out. It just so happens I have one. Now this is the Hutchinson River Parkway, right on the corner of Mulford and Lowry. Closer to Mulford? Yes, closer to Mulford. You then had to walk around the corner? Yes. Did you have the weapon on you? Yes. What kind? A .44 Bulldog. The same gun you described earlier in connection with the death of Donna Lauria, the exact same gun? Yes. Was it loaded? Yes. With how many rounds? 5. Did you have spare ammunition? Yes. Do you know about how many rounds you had? 10 or a dozen. What happened when you came around the corner after parking the car? They were just in the car making out. I just walked up to the street and walked on the opposite side of the street and crossed the street. They did not see me. I pulled the gun out and opened fire. Which side of the car did you go to? The passenger side. Was the car window up or down? Up. What did you do? Just pulled out the gun. Were you crouched? Yes, and just fired into the car. Did you hold the gun in one hand or two? 2. How many shots did you fire? 4 shots. Was there any particular reason why you only fired 4 on this particular morning, April 17th, 1977, whereas you fired 5 on July 29th, 1977 in the Burr Avenue incident? No particular reason. Who did you hit first? I believe I hit Mr. Esau first. Where was he in the car? He was in the passenger seat. And what, if anything, did he do? Did he slump? He seemed to slump forward. That's Mr. Esau, is that correct? Yes. Do you know the lady's name? Valentina Siriani. What, if anything, did you do to her? I shot her. I couldn't tell if I hit her. When I left, she was moaning, but she seemed to have slumped back to the driver's seat. And that was about 3 a.m.? Yes. Do you know why you remember the time? I must have read about the incident dozens of times. And are you the man who shot these 2 people? Yes, I am. And you are the man who shot and killed Donna Lauria and wounded Jody Valente? Yes, I am. Now, what did you do next? What did you next do after you fired the 4 shots? I ran to my car, and I got in my car and drove off. Did you leave anything on the scene? Oh yeah, right, the letter. I had it in my pocket. It was a letter addressed to Captain Borelli. Where did you leave it? I just dropped it in the middle of the street. Near the driver's side or the passenger side? The passenger side. It was a plain white envelope? Yes. Did it have a name on it? Captain Joseph Borelli. Did it have a location, precinct, address? Queens Police, I thought I had on it. Getting back to the shooting, did you intend to kill Valentina Siriani and Alexander Esau? Yes. There is no question about that? No. Now, combining both cases together for a moment, When you planned to do what you said you did, how long did you think about it? The day it happened, the day before, or the day before that? How long did you plan to shoot these people? Well, I didn't know those were the people I would shoot. You planned to shoot those people? Sam gives me the word to shoot, and I would shoot. Did you know Miss Sirianni or Mr. Esau? No. What were you wearing April 17, 1977? Do you know? I think I wore a ski jacket. Your hair the same as it is today? Yes. Why did you leave a letter when you shot and killed Miss Sirianni and Mr. Esau, and not when you shot Donna Loria and Jody Valente? It was a long period that had elapsed, and things had changed. I had things to say. This letter that you left addressed to Captain Borelli. By the way, did you know the name Borelli? It was in the papers from the previous shooting. How did you write it, in script or print? Printed it. Any reason for that? Just wanted to print it. I just like to write in that style. It has a certain effect. Why did you shoot 5 shots in killing Donna Loria and wounding Jody Valente, and only 4 in killing Mr. Alexander Esau and Valentina Sirianni? It was just when I fired in the Loria shooting, I just opened fire. I pulled the trigger as fast as I could. I was still pulling the trigger after the gun was empty. In the other shooting, I had become more experienced. It just didn't take that many bullets. Is there any reason, as far as the Bronx cases are concerned, any reason why you picked those dates? The dates have no reason. How did you get away with? What path did you take? What road did you take in the April 17, 1977 shooting of the 2 people? Up Buer Avenue, past the previous shooting, east of Buer Avenue, Bruckner Expressway, and I traveled on that all the way around to Soundview Avenue. I remember I stopped at White Castle over there. Is there anything that you recall saying in the letter left at the shooting of April 17 of this year where Mr. Esau and Miss Sirianni were killed? Anything that stands out in your mind that you remember today? I called myself the chubby behemoth. Any reason for that? No reason. I can't say. I don't know how to explain it. Any reason for using a .44 caliber weapon? When I went to Texas, I only had a certain amount of money to spend. A .38 special and a .44 caliber were the cheapest. When did you buy the gun in relation to the July 29, 1976 incident? A month or a month and a half before the shooting. Did you say in the letter you left for Captain Borelli, bang, 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 bang? Yes, sir, 5 bangs. You only used 4 in killing Mr. Esau and Miss Sirianni. Does it have any meaning? No. Did you write a letter to Mr. Breslin? Yes, I did. And you wrote it yourself? Yes. Why did you mail it to New Jersey? Why did you mail it from New Jersey? I was there at the time, hunting. Did you ever admit to anyone before tonight that you had done what you had done in relation to the Bronx cases? No. To anybody at all? No. Did you write any other letters besides the 2 we mentioned? Not addressed to anyone. Ever mail them? No. Ever call the police? No. Ever identify yourself as Son of Sam or any other term? No. Do you know what you were doing withdrawn today? Withdrawn. Today, this is yesterday. April, strike that. Yesterday, August 10th, 1977. Tell me how the police took you into custody. I left my building and entered my car, and they came from the rear, guns drawn, told me to freeze. That was it. Anything in the car in connection? Weapons? Yes. A .44 caliber bulldog was there inside a paper bag, extra bullets, a .45 caliber rifle. Did you talk to other police officials before you spoke to Mr. Aiello and myself? Yes. Do you know their names? Captain Jim Fox? Detective Fox? Detective. Inspector Dowd, a gentleman with a dark suit, glasses? Yes. Is there anything else you want to say? I have nothing else. Are you glad it's over? Kind of. Glad to get it off your chest? Maybe tomorrow I won't feel that way. Is what you're telling me today the whole truth? Yes. About July 29, 1976, early morning hours, when Donna Loria died and Jody Valenti wounded? Yes, I did. And you are the person who shot and killed on April 17, 1977 at about 3 o'clock in the morning at 1878 Hutchinson River Parkway, Mr. Alexander Esau and Miss Valentina Siriani in a parked car? Yes. Mr. Quinn. Mr. Berkowitz, I'm now going to Mr. Martin Bracken, Chief of the Homicide Division, Queen's office, and he will discuss certain items with you as he feels important. This statement is concluded at 4:34 a.m. Well, the DA's questioning of Berkowitz, I think, was very straightforward. Berkowitz was spontaneous, as he was when we read the statements from police the night of the arrests. Something that stuck out to me was the mailing of the letter from New Jersey. And the reason it stuck out in my mind was I was thinking the other day, there is that thought by many of the researchers that Berkowitz possibly has other bodies, that he's done more. And the other night I thought about the lurking around in Jersey, and I looked even to see if the death penalty had been abolished at that time, and it wasn't. It didn't apply, so that point is moot. But initially I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe Jersey had the death penalty there, and that's why Berkowitz didn't admit to this one, to any incidents or crimes, murders in New Jersey. But we do know, I'm going to jump back, and we do know about the shooting of the elderly woman in Yonkers, and I believe him. Why would he say it if he didn't do it? I totally believe him. He bought the rifle, the semi-automatic. He probably wanted to test it out, and he admitted to shooting. He said he didn't remember the date, but I assessed, and this is just my assessment, I think he did it that February. He bought the gun January 1976. I think immediately after, maybe a couple of weeks at the most, he wanted to test it out. To this date, we haven't been able to find anything on it, but he knew that the elderly woman survived. So, he read it somewhere. He knew she survived, unless he shot and, recognized that it wasn't a fatal type shot. Maybe he nicked a shoulder or something like that. But I believe he shot at her. He read about it, and I believe he did it. But that's just my opinion. I'm throwing it out there. And the reason is because we have other crimes, and it's so specific, and he admitted to all of the shootings. He admitted to the stabbings. So why would he bring this up if he didn't do it? So if he had that and nobody really thought about that in years, what else did he have? So I thought I was onto something. I'm like, well, he had bodies in Jersey, but maybe they had the death penalty there and he didn't want to confess to anything there. Nobody brought it up. They just asked what he was doing, and he was hunting. And he also says, to everyone, no, I didn't know them before. It was just me. I was the only one there. I didn't know them before. But there are a few where there's some sus there. And one of them I want to share with you. And I had permission to share this. I hope I still do. This was something given to me by way of about three-way. Three-way, yay. Transfer this. Okay. So this was forwarded to me from Book Club Warrior 22, and I believe he had gotten this. No, I don't believe, I know he had gotten this from Neo, who is a researcher in our community. And I know Neo had given me permission a while back to use this. He had mentioned to me that it was put together by Penny 22. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing. This is her work, and it just so creepy that it makes you think that perhaps he knew Donna Lauria. And well, I might as well just go through the whole thing. I've given the credit. Penny 22. I don't know you personally, but thank you. I hope it's okay that I'm referencing your work. She had found, she had linked together a few things, specifically in Burke's letter. I miss my pretty princess most of all. She's resting in Our Lady's house, but I'll see her soon. And Penny had found the obit for Donna Lauria, and she had the mass at the Our Lady of the Assumption Church. I'm not sure about that. I mean, when it links all together, there's kind of a connection, but I'm not sold on that. But just the fact that, David's so crazy, I don't know, but the passage in the Kaposi book, later, David called Donna Lauria his little princess. Right after he killed her, Sam had promised her to him. He was supposed to marry her. He says Sam told him that. So he was promised Donna to him as a bride. Sam had led David to believe that Donna would have someday risen to join him. And that's crazy. And, again, it could have been something that came up after the fact, but I so feel that there's just so much suspicion here. And although it's not in the Bronx, I might as well just throw it up now because I put it on my Facebook a couple times, and I cannot believe that there was no response on the Christine Freund. She had received, according to John Dale, she had received a stalkerish phone call. And he said it was 3 or 4 days prior to the murder. So that's weird to me, that she gets some weird stalking phone call and then she's murdered 3 or 4 days later. So weird. But anyway, what I'm going to do is when I go over the Queen's DA questioning, I'll bring that up and I'll have that for you and read what John Dale's testimony was, or his statement rather, to police, because it was in the police statements. And it's on my Facebook, so join my Facebook group. We'd really love to have you there. I have a very crazy schedule, so I am one that I get online and make videos when I have time and I feel moved. If I find something that I want to talk about, if I promise you something, I jump on and I make my video. I'm not, I don't feel compelled that I have to be here every night. So I do like to share a lot of smaller things, like blog-like things, or things that I find that are interesting that I don't think they merit a 45-minute or an hour show. I share those on my Facebook. So I think you should join that. Again, all of the information's on the About page. You could find me. You could send me cool stuff at my Gmail address and all that good stuff. But I don't know. And then, you have the whole Peachtree thing. So today was really covering the DA reports. But there's a lot there. And I think what we will do is we will dive deeper when we cover each individual crime, because I will be doing that. This is just an overview. I am digging in the victim files, and I would like to respectfully do a show on, or, maybe I could do 2 or 3 in one show, but I would like to cover the victim's files. So I think we'll save it for that and start to go deep, and we could share what our thoughts are. Do you believe, and you could put this in chat now, David says that these were all random, that he's got this craziness in his head, Sam's in his head, and he's hunting and he's looking, and there's some kind of cosmic evil connection when he comes upon someone to strike, someone to shoot. What do you think? Do you think that there's suspicion that perhaps he knew some of the victims, or maybe not knew them personally, but he was asked about stalking Donna and Jody earlier in the evening? What do you think? We're in chat. Let's chat it up. Do you think that he knew some of the victims, and which ones? You could just be short about it, because again, we're going to go through the victim files together in the next few weeks. But you could just throw it in chat now. I just don't know that I'm 100% sold that Berkowitz went out and this evil energy directed him right to who he was supposed to kill. This is only my opinion. It could be. It could be so. He's admitting to it. He admits to it to Dr. Abramson. Everywhere that it's reported, he admits to not knowing and him being the only shooter. So I don't know, I just find that a little suspect. But yeah, we'll save that for when we go through each individual case. So the Bronx file for the DAs was very short. We didn't take up too much time today. Next will be Queens County, and of course, many crimes there, so that show will be a little bit longer. Hope that we have been having some nice discussion in chat. Again, I was so happy to be able to get on and spend some time with you. We are a small community, an intimate community, but I feel so lucky because we always have great discussion in chat. I am so much a quality over quantity person. You are all so important to me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, our channel wants to contribute to the community. So everyone who can behave like a grown-up and bring something to the table, be respectful, come on in and join us. Talk. We want this discussion. We are hungry for discussion. We want to hear what's on your mind. What's important is that everyone is very clear. Don't come demanding your thoughts. Your thoughts are your thoughts, and you can't shove them onto somebody else. But bring it to the table. Explain, why you're thinking what you're thinking, and be clear. Speculation, or this is fact. This was here. I found this here. Let's just differentiate on what's fact, what's fiction, or, what's somewhere in between. But let's talk about it. There are people in this community that are hungry to discuss. So let's discuss. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed tonight. Don't forget, I'm going to link the timeline slideshow in the description of this video. Download it. That's another thing. We had such a great time preparing it. This is only part one, the slideshow. I know you all seen the video. Some people thought the video was the slideshow. The video was just the promo. It featured some of the slideshow in it, but we're actually giving you those slides now. So it's basic information based on police reports and then extended out there, from there. But you will have it in your hands. So it's great for researchers or people who are on shows and you're talking about stuff and you can't remember dates. And I get it, you get nervous and stuff. You forget, who was injured and who, but we have to be careful. As presenters, we have to be very sensitive with this stuff. If you got a slideshow right in front of you, you could be like, okay, tonight, I'm talking about this case or this murder, and you could slide over to the slide and get whatever you need from it. It's very easy to use. I was going to put together a video to, an instructional video, but I don't know that that's necessary. At some point, I think I've been talking to a few people, specifically from the Timeline Task Force, and we may do a short just for fun going through each of the slides, kind of giving you an overall view of, the case as we know it. So lots of things in the works. We've got a lot of stuff coming for you. I'm very excited. Once again, I feel very blessed. I'm so grateful to be with you, and hopefully we had a great time in chat. So I'm going to stop rambling, but I don't want you to tune out yet. I think it's very important. And I love that our community members always mention this in the chat. I think with all this smoke and hoopla about the case, we're always talking about Berkowitz, but let's never, ever forget the victims and the survivors. Thank you so much for joining me. Watch that memorial video.